Okay. This is Unit 1, Section 1 Notes, and it's titled Preparing for Algebra. Go ahead and put your name, and we are going to go ahead and turn in our book 0-3, Operations with Integers, which could be found on P11 through P12. P stands for pre. So that means before chapter 1. This is where you should be in your book. 0-3 Operations with Integers. P11. The first thing in order to do is go ahead and talk about some definitions, but there is no definition that we need to talk about first. But there are some notes that I need to go ahead and cover with you. The first thing I need to go ahead and cover is a negative sign stands for debt. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to talk about that throughout the entire year, that when we see a negative sign, we're going to go ahead and say that, hey, that's debt. Debt like money. And a subtraction sign stands for take away. So we're going to look at a subtraction sign as take away. Therefore, a minus sign by a negative sign means take away debt. Which the only way to take away debt means to add the value. What do I mean? Here's what I mean. If I had 5 minus negative 3, this would say 5 take away the debt of 3. Well, how's the only way I can take away debt 3 would be to actually add 3. So this would turn into 5 plus 3, which would be 8. Anytime we see a minus negative by each other, we're going to go ahead and connect that and make it a plus. 5 plus 3. Now we are going to go ahead and look at example 1. Anytime you see the word example, that means I'm going to connect that with the book. So on P11, example 1. Here is where I'm talking about. I need you to always follow along with the book as well as when I teach. There's example 1. Example 1 says use a number line to find negative 3 plus negative 4. This would be debt 3 plus debt 4. Well, that makes sense. Debt 3 plus debt 4, that means I'm negative 3 plus negative 4. That means I have to add these to figure out the total debt. 3 plus 4 would be 7. So if I'm at debt 7, that means I'm at negative 7. But it says use a number line. Let's go ahead and make a number line. Here's 0, and we have to start at negative 3. 1, 2, 3. So I'm at negative 3. Now I have to add a negative 4. So if I add negative 4, I'm at 1, 2, 3, 4. Negative means debt. Debt means I have to go to the left because that's negative. So I'm not at negative 3 anymore. I'm at negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6, negative 7. I am trying my best to make sense of this. We're going to go ahead and skip example 2, and we're going to go ahead and focus on example 3 that you can find in your book. This says 18 minus 23. Well, in words, this would be 18 take away 23. Well, think about that. If I had $18, but I take away 23, well, I have to be negative because I don't have $23. And I cannot take 18 minus 23 I always take the larger value minus the smaller value first. So I would borrow, 13 minus 8 would be 5, 1 minus 1 is 0. But if I took away 23, that means I have to be negative now and not positive. So that would be negative 5. For those that I taught last year, these are opposite signs, which means I would subtract and keep the sign of the larger number, so it still comes out true. Just like up here, same signs, add and keep, so it works. Before we move on to example 4, which is on the next page, P12, we need to go ahead and talk about some notes. In order to find out if an answer will be negative or positive when multiplying or dividing numbers, I must count how many negative signs I see. If I count an even number of negative signs, then my answer is positive, including 0. 0 is an even number. If I count an odd number of negative signs, then my answer is negative. Okay? Even, I mean 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Odd, I mean 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, so on and so forth. So look at this example. A lot of negative ones, and I'm multiplying. So let's count. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 is an odd number, therefore my answer has to be negative. 1 times 1 times 1, all of these ones actually is still 1, so my answer is negative 1, because there is an odd number of negative signs.